Rotations versus translations. So in this problem, the question is, which image is the rotation? The blue one or the green one? So why don't you pause and figure it out? What I find helpful is to actually write down blue or green because it kind of makes you commit to your answer. And then we'll talk about which one's the correct one and why. And then we're also going to talk about the rule and writing the rule for it. All right, so let's take a look at these information. So the image, is it a rotation or a translation? I guess it could be a reflection too. One of those three. So I'm going to look at and what we have to look at is these letters of our points. So the vertices, how they're labeled. So N, Q, Q, N. Wait a minute. There's a Q over here. Oh, so Q is over here. So we have a P, or an O and a P and a P and a Q. Let me take a look at this green one. N and Q, Q and N, O and P, P and O. So this one over here is a reflection. I can see that the P, so here's how I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking this P is reflected here and O is reflected over to this one. Q is reflected here and N is reflected further away. So that means my answer is blue. And I can see that because it was kind of weird, like it looked like a Q here at first, but then I noticed when I went down to the N, I was thinking maybe reflection, but I can see that that Q now gets rotated over to the Q over here. So this kind of is Q prime. And then the O gets rotated 90 degrees. Okay, so now we're going to write the rule. So I kind of see that my arrows are kind of going this direction. So that's counter. Oh, maybe I could write the rule right away. I could 90 degrees. Oh, I need that rotation because of the wording. So we're going to write it, rotate 90 degrees, counter, because it's counterclockwise, clockwise. And then don't forget, we need about the origin. So this answer has kind of, well, four main key things. So the first thing is what it is, the name of it. So it's a rotation. The second for rotations is you need the degrees. So is it 180 degrees? Is it 90 degrees? Part of that is the direction you're going. So for me, putting in the arrows really helps me because I put the arrows in, not just a line or curved line, but the arrow, because then it says, oh, this is counterclockwise to me. And then the last thing for rotation, the fourth thing, is that about the origin. Now, to write the rule over here, this is a reflection. So I'm going to go grab my highlighter because that's what I use with reflections, and it's reflecting across this axis, which is the x-axis. So I'm thinking x-axis. So we're going to name it. So number one, we're going to name it so it's a reflection across the x-axis. And we have to name the axis. So that's kind of two parts, the name with where it's reflected across. Rotation, it's more complicated, so it needs more steps to talk about it. Whereas the reflection one is a little bit simpler, so all we need is the name reflection and the axes, so it's the x-axis. So now let's try another one. Which image is a rotation? Is it the green or the blue? So pause to take some time to think about it. We'll come back, give the answer, and then write the rules for them. Well, let's take a look at it again. Oh, look at these. It's rectangle 4. Rectangle 4. Wait a minute. Those are in a different order. Like it's going F-O-U-R in a kind of a clockwise fashion. And a F-O... Oh, it goes this way. So it's kind of down here. Well, let's take a look at this one over here with the blue. So 4 is in the same position. The red is in the same position. And I see F on the top, O on the top, U on the bottom right, and R on the bottom right. Oh, so I kind of see that this one, this O point starts here, moves over, and then down. Now that O could possibly do that, but that doesn't happen with the U. The U kind of just goes right to this one. So let's take a look at the R right here. So R goes over this much. How much is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And how many did we go for the R? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's to the right, so it's a plus 5. So R then goes down all the way down to here. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it goes down 7. So that means it's a minus 7. Let's count this one, the O. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, it also goes down 7. So that means that it's a transformation. So my rotation is the green one. Or my rotation is the green. So what that does is that rotates around here. So we'll come back to that one because I'm kind of in the middle of my thinking over here. So that was a translation. Translation. So that's my word. My first thing is to talk, what is the vocab word? So it's a translation. And how is that translation? So there's a couple ways we can do this. Remember, we could use the words. It's been translated. So a translation, right 5 and down 7. So we can use the words to talk about that translation. So that's kind of the second part of using the vocab, and then that way. Another way, remember, some people really like the coordinate pair or the sort of rule, the algebra kind of rule. So moving right and left is our x. So x, then y. So x is a plus 5 because it's going to the right. And down 7 would be the y. So y minus 7. So instead of writing right 5 and down 7, you could replace it with this x plus 5 comma y minus 7 with coordinate pairs around the outside. All right, so let's switch to the green one. So let's take a look at what happens to F. F could go this way, or I guess it could go the other way too, and it comes in the same way. U, I kind of remember these all going 180 degrees. So we rotate, which is the vocab, that's number 1. 2 would be our 180 degrees. Don't forget the little symbol, degrees. Now, really doesn't matter the 180 degrees. So we could go 180 degrees clockwise, or we could go 180 degrees counterclockwise. So 180 is unique in that you don't need clockwise or counterclockwise. If you put it in there, it really, like, I don't even look at that part. It's the 180 degrees. So that's the important. And don't forget the last little bit about the origin, because it's rotated about that origin. So those are the little key things, or the parts that we need to use for these. And that is how you write the rules and also identify if you're given an image. Here's our image. Let me get this is our image. No, that's the original. The image is the green. Boy, I get them mixed up sometimes too. So this is the original. And our image is down here, our image. So we want to make sure we these down here would have our prime, but sometimes they don't put primes on there. They just put the letters in a different color.